is the Louie T Network.
In the lab room.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I'm your host, Luke. Thank you for joining me. Week number 4 in the National Football League. Look, I'm trying to get this product out on the streets. You know how it goes, man. I'm trying to be more efficient, trying this live feed. It's a little funky, it's a little dirty, kind of noisy in the background, a little bit of pixelation going on. Don't worry about all of that. Just worry about this product that I'm putting out on the street. And today, I'm talking New Orleans Saints and Dallas Cowboys, America's team. Sunday night football. Yeah, this was supposed to be a big one. This was supposed to be competitive football between, hey, two teams trying to get to 3-1 on the season. Or excuse me, Saints trying to get back to 500 at 2-2 on the season. Cowboys trying to get to 3-1 on the season. So this was supposed to be a big one. And Saints have had a lot of success versus the Cowboys in Big D at home. It doesn't matter. Sean Payton has done very well against his ex-mates in Dallas. Meanwhile, the Cowboys have struggled beating the New Orleans Saints. But I told you going into this game, I was a little uneasy about this one because I didn't like the way the Saints looked on uh, week 3. In week 3 against the Minnesota Vikings. I don't like the way the Saints play football on the road. But I was willing to make an exception here because of the success they've had against this Cowboys team. And I said that I still am not buying this Cowboys defense quite yet. So I was expecting the Saints to have a little bit of success. I was wrong. Big time. Now, raise your hand if you saw this one coming. Okay, let me rephrase that question. Okay, let me rephrase that question. Raise your hand if you saw the Saints potentially coming out and stinking it up offensively. I can't say that I didn't see that coming because here's the thing. Last week, keep in mind, the score was 13-9 in the fourth quarter. The Saints were only up 4 points. They scored those 13 points on the first 2 possessions of the game. Didn't score another point to the fourth quarter and put those boys away. So that alarmed me. That sent off bells and whistles, red flags, and you name it. I was on alert. But I was willing to overlook a few things because of the success that they've had against this Cowboys team, and I'm still not buying what the Cowboys are selling quite yet. But I tell you what, after a performance like this, it's hard not to say, hey, let me get a couple of those Cowboys. Let me get a couple of those stars over there. Hey, look, man, it's hard not to buy some stock in the Dallas Cowboys if they continue to play like this. Let's talk about this game quickly. It's not a lot here. It's not a lot here to come over. Really, it's not. Cowboys with a gorgeous opening drive, 12 plays, 80 yards, capped by 5-yard Terrence Williams touchdown grab at 7-0. Look, I talked about Terrence Williams last year as a rookie, and I said this kid, if he's able to continue to progress and they use him correctly in this offense, sky's the limit for this kid. He's big, he's fast, he's physical. You saw the shot he took in the end zone from Jarius Byrd. You saw the shot in the end zone, held on to the football. The kid has all the tools necessary to be an elite receiver in this league. You put him across from Des Bryant, and all of a sudden now you got 2 guys that you got to worry about that are big, physical, and fast. Good luck stopping both of those if Tony can get them the football. And Terrence Williams showed up huge in this game. His first touchdown in this game won't be the last. 7-0 Dallas up in this game. End of the first quarter, so 7-0. Game moved kind of slow early on. That's what I expected. I thought this game would not be one of these shootouts like we've seen in the past. Thought this was going to be a 27-24 type of game, 20-24 type of game. And it started out that way, but it would not finish that way. Shane Graham can't put the Saints on the scoreboard as he misses from 41 yards out, still 7-0 Dallas. Saints got to find him a field goal kicker. This has got to stop. You know, we went through the whole I think with Thomas Morstead. Was it Morstead? I can't remember the name of your field goal kickers, but I believe it was Thomas Morstead. We went through all these kickers with big legs that can't get it through the uprights. You bring in these veterans that can kick the shorter ones, and you got the guy to kick it off deep. Look, find you a good field goal kicker, man. This is costing you points. If you make this field goal, who's to say this game didn't turn out differently? But you didn't make the field goal, and you ended up getting blown out. Find yourself a kicker, because Shane Graham can't make a 53-yard field goal anyway. So for him to miss from 41, those are the ones you expect him to make. And he missed. So find yourself a kicker, man. And you may not be able to get you a quality kicker this year off the streets. Next year, I need you to do whatever you got to do, whether you got to draft one in the later rounds or you got to go find you a young free agent rookie. Do something at that position and fix it, man. Fix it. Because right now, I don't like the way it looks. And now it's 7-0. Dan Bailey, and see, Dan said, I'm going to show you how to do this, son. He kicks it from 51. If Dan Bailey isn't the best kicker in the league, you show me who is, man. Dan doesn't miss nothing. Nothing slides by Dan Bailey, man. 51, that's nothing, man. Impossible takes a day for Dan Bailey, man. What you want, 57? Dan probably will knock that down, too. It's good from 51. It's 10-0 Cowboys in this game. And so Drew Brees picked up. This is when I knew things were about to head south. Because Drew Brees, up until this point, and they lost their left tackle, Teron Armstead, with a concussion. And that's when things started to go south for this offense because after he got injured, they couldn't run the football anymore. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but the running game took a huge blow. And then he started getting pressure from that left side. That's when I said, okay, yeah, things are about to head south. And then Drew started making some irrational decisions. And you know, guys, and I don't even know if it's necessarily irrational decisions. Guys were dropping footballs. You know, Jimmy Graham had a drop. Colston had a drop. But the Cowboys defenders, mainly Bruce Carter, he wasn't going for it. You know, Drew was trying to look him off. Bruce wasn't falling for it. And eventually you knew that was going to turn into a problem. Bruce gets his hands on the football. It's tipped in the air. It's picked off by Justin Durant. And the way the Cowboys are playing offensively, you don't want to give them back the football. And I always said, if Jason Garrett and company ever realize that DeMarco Murray in that running game is where it's at, and you take the football out of Tony Romo's hands, this team is going to be dangerous. Now, do I think that long-term they're going to be able to win this way? I don't know if they can keep this up. Because at some point, teams are going to be able to stop DeMarco Murray and not necessarily have to do it the way the Saints try to do it and put 8 in a box and go man across the board and get 8 up because with the receivers that the Cowboys have, they're going to win one-on-one matchups. I think you're going to run into some teams that just can stop the run, that can slow down DeMarco Murray with a regular front. And what happens then when you say, all right, Tony, you got to win us the game? Is Tony going to revert back to the old Tony that throws 2 interceptions, including a back-breaking one at the end of the game? Who's to say? I don't know if – it's a winning formula, though. If you can run the football in this league and throw when necessary, which is what the Cowboys are doing right now, you're going to win a lot of games and play – and this is the biggest kicker right now – and play the type of defense the Cowboys are playing. I don't know if this – I still don't think this defense is legit. You're not selling me. You don't get pressure on the quarterback good enough, and – I'm not sold on this defense being able to stop the run quite yet, but it was impressive nonetheless. And after that interception, Cowboys moved it right down the field. 24 for Dunbar on the screen. Now this was pathetic on the part of the officials. How is this not, you know, an eligible man downfield? I mean, you got Lyman 10 yards down the field. Doug Free was 10 yards down the field. You know, Ronald Leary was 7 yards down the field. There's no way this play shouldn't have been flagged. I mean, Tony, once he pump fake, that was it. That should have been the end of the play. Flag should have came out because he's got to throw the football right away. He pump fake, had a chance to roll out, and then get Dunbar the football. And he had Lyman way down the field. But they didn't call it. It's only a penalty if they call it. They didn't call it. So it's 24 yards there for Dunbar. And then turn around, hand it off to DeMarco Murray. Another 15. He gets in the end zone. 17-0. At this point, I'm like, hey, this game is slipping away, man. You need to do something, and you need to do something now, New Orleans. And I'm not talking field goal something. I'm talking touchdown something. You need to do something now. And what do? Nothing. Matter of fact, they get the Cowboys back the ball, and they went right down the field and found Terrence Williams one more time for good measure in the first half as he gets in the end zone, wide open down the sidelines. It's 24-0 as we head to the half. This game's over in my mind. I mean, the Saints haven't shown me anything in the last 3 weeks. And I think they said this during the telecast, that their point total has dropped each week in this season. Scored 34 in week 1, scored 24 in week 2, scored 20 in week 3. So I said, I don't see these boys just having a light switch come on and scoring 31 points and stopping the Cowboys from putting any other points on the scoreboard and winning this game. I put these boys to rest, and so did this Cowboys defense and offense as they go and win this game 38-17 due to the Dallas Cowboys. Dominating performance by this Cowboys football team. I didn't see this one coming. I did not see this one coming. Did I think they could win this game? Sure I did. Did I think they could win it this way? No, I didn't. And so this was impressive because they ran the football. They stuck to what has been working for them. It's a winning formula. Run the football with DeMarco Murray. Go play action fake and give Tony easy throws. That's what happened. And as long as DeMarco is running the ball this well, and he leads the league in rushing right now, and it's not even close, as long as he continues to run the football the way he's running it, as effectively as he's running it, the Cowboys are going to see 8-man fronts, and Tony Romo is going to have the pick of the litter from Dez Bryant to Terrence Williams to Jason Witten to Cole Beasley. He's going to get one-on-one matchups. They just got to win. And those guys are going to win one-on-one matchups consistently. That was a beautiful performance by the Dallas Cowboys. Conversely, if you're the Saints, that was pathetic. And the thing that's scary right now is the defense looks nothing like it did last year. That was evident from the first 2 games of the season. You thought you might have had something going last week, but that was Minnesota with Matt Castle and Teddy Bridge. And Teddo, if he would have started that game, you might have been in some trouble. But nonetheless, your defense doesn't look the way it looked last year. You're missing Darren Sproles. Why did you do that? I told you you were going to pay for that. You thought you could circumvent that by using all these other guys. No, there's only one Mighty Mike in this league. You're missing him. Your offense isn't the same. You're going to find out the same way the Chargers, San Diego Supercharger, same way they found out life without Darren Sproles isn't the same. You're going to find that same thing out the hard way. And those who don't hear, feel. So you're going to feel. You're going to feel what it feels like to not have the Mighty Mike. Now you're in trouble because I don't see your offense doing the things that it did last year. I don't see you being as successful offensively. I don't know where you go from here. Honestly, I'm not saying you need to panic, but you're 1-3 on the season. Keep in mind that this NFC is going to be a really good conference. You don't have a lot of margin for error anymore. You got to start winning ball games, and you got to figure out what's wrong. And I don't know if you know exactly what's wrong, but you got to figure it out because you're running out of time. Big win for the Cowboys. They're 3-1 in the season, and they're now atop the NFC East. Shh, don't tell nobody. But the Cowboys are playing some good football. Meanwhile, the Saints are struggling. And this was a team that I thought could compete for the #1 overall seed in the NFC. How wrong was that? This team is struggling. They're having an identity crisis right now as we speak. Remember 2 weeks ago, Sean Payton and defensive coordinator Rob Ryan going at it? I could see that getting real ugly if this team doesn't turn some things around. Because the defense, they're pressing. The offense is pressing because the defense is pressing. It's getting ugly. And soon, they can start butting some heads. So that's going to do it for this breakdown of Saints, Cowboys. I thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me as I've got plenty more games to break down in week number 4 of the National Football League. I'll see you in a bit. Like the content? Want more? Sub up.